welcome. We are having a mental health dialogue talk whereby we'll be discussing on the impacts of mental health among the youth people. And hereby I have panelists. They are basically young people from different sectors. So to my right, I'm having Emma. Emma works in the social services. The farthest right is Grace Oral, who is the director of OVO. And to my left, I have Joseph Otieno, who works with the L4L. And lastly, I have Gloria Ann Acheng, who is a clinical psychologist. So, Grace, you're working with the women. And as you know, the population of the young women and girls, they are almost surpassing almost half the total population according to the KNBS from the last census. So what can you say? You've been working with them. Do you think in relation to mental health and maybe the menstrual hygiene services, what can you say about it?
Okay, thank you very much for the nice introduction, but also for allowing me to be part of the panel that is discussing about the effects of population pressure on mental health, and especially with young people. So for me, I would say that, at this particular time, everyone else is affected, if not infected, by the COVID-19. And with that to mean that there's a lot of issues, mental health, illness, and that starts from, depression, stress. We need to acknowledge that stress is a mental health disorder that needs to be addressed in the best possible way, because if it is not addressed, then it can, advance to depression and even to, loss of life at some point. So for me, I think, working with girls and young people especially, there's been quite a lot to deal with psychologically. In regards to, COVID brought about inaccessibility to on commodities like, menstrual health products, but also the rising cases of teenage pregnancy in the rural and slum areas, which is basically where, WOVO has their programs on, but also issues sexual gender-based violence happening at the household level, which is a growing concern, because girls as young as 8, 15 are being molested, but even younger than that. We've heard of 3 months, right? So these are issues, these are real issues that are happening on the ground. And me as a young woman and working with young women and girls, it is so disheartening, because right now everyone else is affected. So you really do not have a holistic approach on how you'd go about giving each and every individual and even the household level that psychosocial support that they need. So mental health is really critical at this particular time, and I think for us, what we've been doing is working with them in regards to offering one-on-one psychosocial support, but also engaging the bigger population of youth who are in the social media through a mental Fridays healing program, whereby it's a safe space where young women, boys and girls, men and women can talk about issues, mental health. If you've been, in depression before simply because of COVID, you've been infected, they were free to highlight that and also give insights on how to, revamp or how to, come out from that particular illness, or rather recover from that particular area. So I think this is a very crucial conversation that we need to have, not only today but like every day, but especially now that we're young people, we are more affected mentally because we have a lot of things going on in our minds, issues unemployment, issues relationships, issues education. Now the curriculum, the system of the education is jumpy. So at one point you could be in school, the other time you're told the school closes, and the next thing you are required to be at home. Being at home, you'll only be maybe watching TV or doing something. If you do not have that access to television or anything like phone, then it becomes really stressful because then you are idle. An idle mind, you know where that leads to. Right. So there's been a lot going on really. So talking about it is very ideal, and I really value conversations on mental health. But not only talking about it, but then putting it into action, because after talking about this here, what next? Yeah? So you can talk about it, I know that halfly solve your problem, mental health problem, but then you need the action part. So if you need to seek for psychosocial support, please go for it. And that's my take. Thank you very much.
Especially now that we see that a lot of people they have a problem but they don't want to speak out simply because maybe they'll be judged. I'm telling Nani this, maybe ataona mimi mbaya, ama natoka kwa familia iko na pesa, ama maybe natoka mali kuna hii. Why am I going telling everyone my problems? All the family will repel away, watakataa ku associate with the rest, which is very true. So inafaa kana hizo shida, just speak out. So young people, you being in the clinical psychology, issue, how do you deal, and you being a young person in that department, how do you relate to others, or are there any interventions that might be there to help the young people speak out?
Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this panel. And the question is, as young people, do we need to be prepared for more population and hence more depressed one? So in the current situation that we're in, we find that there are a lot of people who are stressed, and this stress comes as a result of the people anticipate for a lot of diverse situations, but we have the fear of being able to solve the situations. Example, the COVID-19 crisis at the moment. So when I joined JIJENGE, we decided to come up with different programs in order to deal with different mental health cases. And the first program that we started was support supervision. And support supervision mainly is coming up with a safe and supportive environment that we can critically reflect on issues on mental health and come up with ways of solving those issues. And initially we were doing it just as JIJENGE and volunteers within JIJENGE. But now it is open to other organizations that we partner with. So we all work in this space, we all have challenges, we face challenges daily when we work, and it's important when we meet from time to time and we help each other in identifying the gaps that we meet and trying to come up with ways of solving those gaps. And also, the skill that I have is not different. It's not the same as skill that Grace has. So when we come together, we share skills, and we can also weigh on performances and come up with different ways to tackle mental health. So we have it every Friday at JIJENGE office. So you are invited at 2 p.m. every Friday. And the second program that we came up with as JIJENGE was Story Yangu, or My Story. And it's a community-based program where we target youths and adolescents in the community. And by sharing your story, it's a mental health program. So it's a program for mental well-being, because we also provide a supportive bond among us. Okay. So, and you need to recognize that your story is important, and your story can change someone else's life. Your story can build the society. You see. And also when you share your story, you find that you can reaffirm your values. You find peace, you can find hope. And also being among people with different issues. Some people don't actually know they have issues unless they listen to they speak or listen to someone else speak. So you find that you realize you're not alone, and it's a safe space. Okay. Yeah, and aside from Story Yangu or My Story, we also do individual and group counseling, where you can just come to the office and you make an appointment, that is, and you can be taken through the psychosocial steps. Yes. So in matters mental health, you need to talk to someone, just like Grace said. You need to talk to someone. And you need to find someone who you trust, an elder person, a parent, someone who you feel like can understand you, can listen to you. And you can try also to find other services and organizations that deal with mental health. Because you can't just wait. We are all impacted or affected in some way. Yeah. So you need to just reach out, and that's the only way that you can know where to help. Yes.
So I also want to add that si lazima uende mtu mkubwa ama just a professional. You can even talk to your peer mate. Most of youths tend to shy away from going maybe to the hospitals and maybe approaching professionals simply because maybe ataona mimi mama ananijaja ama ataambia mama yangu, maybe hataki kuambia mzazi pale nyumbani. So just tell your fellow friend, mwambie, maybe atakuelewa hata kama atakuadvise, but hiyo kusikizwa ni muhimu.
But we cannot also forget the reason why we have the professionals. Yeah, because they are professionals for a reason. You know, there are problems, different problems exist for different issues. And another problem with the adolescent and young people, if you share some problem, you end up finding yourself in the social media as a story. So I don't think, I beg if I could be, it's debatable, or the panelists can tell us which one is more okay to young people to share their personal problems or to look for the professional. Or it's a debate for another day. It's okay.
It is, but maybe if I can just add, I mean, you're all right. Yeah? But the difference comes in with chairman. You know, the experts, you have to pay for them, right? But me as a young person, if I don't have the money to pay for, counseling session, then I'll go to her. I'll tell her, but only if I trust her also. That is what she's talking about. Only if I can trust her with my issue, then I'll tell her, hey, Maze, I'm going through. What's the issue is a relationship? You know those things. You cannot, what's a date? Yeah? Yeah. So, it's a stereotype, but also it happens that we tend to share more with men than our own Nana. Yeah. So I would share with maybe Tom about a particular issue because thinking that, for money will listen more and give me that, console me in a certain way, right? So it is right. The thing is, kama uko na pesa wewe enda ulipe psychologist akupe. Of course that hapo utapata kila kitu. Maybe I'll just listen to you and me tell you, you know what, this is how I went through. Yeah. And it helps also. Maybe that is what some of us need. But if you feel it is intensive, it is eating up on you, then you go seek for, the intensive care, which I think what Joseph is talking about. So it is correct. The difference comes in.
But remember also, we have a tendency of, I believe we have psychologists on board.
Yeah, she is one.
You also?
Yeah.
As a psychologist.
I'm a psychologist.
Certified,
I am a
okay.
to let a certificate.
So I don't know if I'm saying a truth or a lie, because you get that most people do not seek professional psychology counseling and therapy. We think that I know Grace handles a lot of cases on mental issues or women issues. Now I can take it to Grace. Then also Grace akiletewa kesi, he doesn't want to refine it. Anataka kuhandle ili at the end of the day I'm the one who manage this. So I think it's time that we need to start making that culture that people need to seek professionals so that it can be handled professional way. Because it's very easy. I shared with a case, then tumekosana na yeye, then anaweza kuspread. Unaona? Ajui professionality. Something of that kind. Thank you.
Maybe just to ask, in the field of psychology where you are right now, do we have people who do like pro bono, like they do it free of charge, so at least the youth outside can know, si lazima like nikuwe na pesa for me to get that help. Can I just go and get someone who can just help me free of charge without money?
Yeah, I tend to do pro bono work mainly through organizations. So like when we go to the community and we're doing example story, at times you find cases and you can't charge them. At times you do pro bono work. You understand?
Yeah. Okay.
And I think you do a lot of pro bono.
Yeah, we do a lot of
right?
pro
Do
bono.
maybe the question would be sorry to say. It's like, have you ever charged for any men or rather say counseling session?
Yes.
You do.
Also charge.
But the rate at which you charge is less than the rate at which you offer it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And like for you, you go out there, you said every Fridays at JIJENGE, you do counseling for people. After we've come with all our troubles na tumekuwekelea, where do you take your issues? Maybe you should also tell us that, because we might be giving you our problems, but we hauna pali pa kuipeleka. How do you handle that? Maybe just to help.
In JIJENGE, I offer the support, and I also attend another support.
Okay, that's good.
And maybe just to add, so you know how the psychology, they're also human being, and I understand where that question is coming from, but there's always a chain of mentorship or support system that, you know, you offer me, I offer her. There's just a kind of chain that usually exists, because she has it all after listening to someone, you know, talking about everything, but then you also need to just, you know, let it out at some point, and when you feel like it. So you'll always have that person, like a support system who you can always have, right?
Yeah.
Very important.
Okay. So Joseph, you as a member of L4L, you belong in an CSO. So you being in a CSO, what are your roles? What do CSO play in mental health advocacy?
Thank you, and when I start by correcting kidogo, we are, in short, we are L4L champion, leaders champion. Is a youth-led organization based in Kisumu, and we do health and mental health, and we specialize in men mental health. Yeah, we are trying to show our men that they are there for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why men?
Definitely from the statistics. If I'm not wrong, if you look at the suicide rates in Western Kenya, if there are 10 suicide victims, you tend to get that you'll get like 7 men out of 2 women. If you look on the issues of GBV, most of the perpetrators are men, and the victims are women. And remember, we are coming from a patriarchal society, which is men-led. So there's a lot of authority, responsibility, and obligation tied to men. So as CSO, I really appreciate what CSO are doing, and let me start by appreciating organizations like Tinaga, organizations like ourselves, Chiromo Group of Hospitals, Green Street Network. They are doing so much on mental health advocacy. And remember, right now, for the first time, Kisumu is having funding on mental health, 2020-2021.
Yeah.
George, if I'm not wrong, you funded, the mental health was funded.
It has been there.
The only problem
It
is,
has been there.
Yeah, it has been there. Ni venye tu ilikwanga imekanyagiwa, tuko tunaona mental illness kama an issue in the society. But
the only issue is, hiyo pesa ilitupwa na tujue mental health is wide. There's treatment, there's research, there's advocacy, there's a consultation. So if you look at it the way it was, if it wants to be divided from the health, for the treatment, for the research, it will bring a lot of push and pull, because it's small and all of these things require this funding. Then secondly, also I appreciate many Kisumu organizations came together and during the mental health task force led by Dr. Lupia, we did a submission, and most of the submission really appreciated what can be done from the research, because also mental health is a lot of research, and you get that it requires a lot of funding. So some organizations did their own research and they managed to do a submission which was accepted. Then currently we also have the technical working group for Kisumu, which we are the lead. I'm the lead of the advocacy technical working group mental health Kisumu, and I'm also part of the Kenya Psychiatric and Psychology Society of Mental Health. And right now we are fighting so much so that we get more funding, we bring more psychologists, psychiatrists, and also people to know that mental health is something that all of us, we need it. Let's not think that now, Mimi, I don't need mental health because I'm not a schizophrenic victim, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I'm a very sober person, I'm part of integrity. You know, That is the first problem of mental health. Because we fail to invest, then after when the problem comes, you are in depression, now you want to start looking for friends. Grace, do you know somebody who can help me? Grace anakuuliza, what is your problem? No, it's just somebody who can help me. You see? Then when Grace is coming to help you, you're already burned out. I hope I answered your question about it.
And can you clear out that ukifika hiyo rock bottom, is there a way out, as in unaweza saidiwa ama it's just ni hivyo, you can't be helped?
No one can't be helped. You can be helped. You can get help.
Okay, so George, welcome on board.
Asante sana.
George, I apologize.
And
not
bias,
upset. Yeah.
So George,
Yeah.
you want to enter the political scene?
Yes.
I believe so.
He is in it.
You're already in it. Oh, you're not an aspirant?
Yes.
Oh, okay. OCA to be. Okay, so George, are there policies that you feel like need to be incorporated into the system, or are there policies that are already in the system and they're not being implemented?
I think like today is International Youth Day, right?
Yeah.
So, Emma, don't be hard on me. Possibly I was meeting some youths too. Anyway, on a light note. I think as Joseph has said, and as many of us have also said, I think there are the funding that the county government has been doing. But one of the issues with the budget allocation sometimes is implementation. So no one really follows up after certain quote-unquote good things that are in the budget. Personally, first the amount is too small because mental health most importantly affects people's lives. So I would like to see a situation where the Ministry of Health separates the budget to go to clear various exact the exact definitions of what this money is going to do, so that when the budget outline comes, we can really know this is going to this side of mental health, is going to psychology, this is going to do treatment, it's going to take care of mental health victims. There are issues from especially victims from sub-counties. So to me, a startup point would have been possibly as a legislator to be, first find a way how you can come up with clear policies of mental health, if there are, if none is existing, and if it's existing, how we can clearly fund this sector, so that I think we can really be ahead of some of these issues affecting mental health. So most of the issues fall under Department of Health, but again, it affects each and every one of us, most of the young people who gets affected. So I would say that it's not my field per se, but because it affects everyone. It can affect me, it can affect you. It would mean clear attention that's being put on that sector, and money that follows the functions and the guidelines that are in the budget.
Okay, so as everyone has already added their points, the youth should just, from what I've gathered, you're supposed to come out and talk. So safe spaces and the legislators, they all have everything inclusive. So Emma here is a social worker. So Emma, what can the government stakeholders do?
Okay, the question is good. What can the government do? But again, I think we should also ask, what has the government done so far? See it in a tetea gava, by the way, but I'm just...
It's not wrong to tetea gava.
No, by the way, see, Ivo. To start with, you know, since COVID-19 started, is now 1 year and some months down the line, yeah? There's been so much that has been happening. And just the way Grace said when we started, very many young girls became pregnant, and some of them were afraid even to go back to school. Yeah, am I right? But what did the government do? Like maybe we start with our own Kisumu County. We had the number of girls who became pregnant. The government decided that no girl should drop out of school because of pregnancy. Ama nadanganya? It's true, sindio? So the girls had to go back to school, and apart from that, they were given psychosocial support in that each and every girl was attached to a health facility next to where the girl stays. Sasa kama maybe if you're in Kisumu, you give, and if you're in Nyakach, somewhere where you can access easy. And through that, we see that the girls were able to attend clinics. The girls were being able to talk to. So hata vile walirudi shule, it was a little bit better. I'm just imagining in this case where, like normally, if a girl just becomes pregnant, inakuangaje, you step out of school. All your parents can say, sikulipi fiwe unakaa home. But now because government inaangalia, inafuatilia, what is happening? The girls are in school. To me, the government is already doing something, because na imagine how wasichana wangekuwa out of school, what would have happened? Maybe some of them will be dead right now. Sindio. Alafu the fact that now the government is pushing, following up, inamaanisha those girls hawatafanya abortion kirahisi. Are you even seeing it like that? Yeah. So in short, your mental, at least so far so good, they know that the government is really trying, in as much as sio wote were captured, but wale wenye walitokezea walikuwa captured. Again, people, we were complaining hapa mbeleni the way Kisumu tulikuwa tunaribiwa, the stalls, everything was being demolished, yeah. It's because the governor was thinking about safe housing and all that. Hiyo ni manifesto yake, and national wide too, sindio? I was reading something that was talking about mental health altogether, and they say for the youths to be able to have proper mental health, we need proper housing. Yeah, by the way, tunaweza kuwa tunaichukulia for granted, but it really makes sense. Yeah, like now, let me take a slum like Ubunga, because I come naishi hapo karibu na Ubunga. So like in the evening, I just see what was happening here with the way COVID has been. Yeah, hawezi toka, ikifika 7 you have to be there. So you can just imagine, what do you see when you wake up each and every day? Uwe uko hapo, kama ni kazi zilifungwa. Your mom is not going to work, your dad is not going to work. As a youth, you're there. Even bundles, you know, by the way, zienda kwa simu online if you don't have bundles. Can you do that? You can't. So it is really troublesome. The environment, imefanya the youths, we are not doing well mentally. But mimi niko karibu kutoka kwa youth. I hope I'll be able to do that when the right time comes. Tutakata kutoka kwa youth. And then another thing that I think the governor or the government of Kisumu has done, we have more green spaces, easy parks zenye ziko around. Have you ever thought, what is the work of those green spaces? Zinafanya kazi gani? Ziko tu hapo. Some of you, when was the last time you visited any? You can't even remember, sindio? You know, like right now, because of COVID, like the time where the youths were at home, hakuna vile ungetoka. You can't go anywhere, yeah? Kama ni going for like pubs, clubs, all of them were closed. So the only place maybe I could go is to go to that green space penye watu wamekaa, tunyasi tu ni green. I don't know, but I believe there's a way nature heals. Uende tu ukae. And then maybe your mom will not allow me in your house because wanaogopa I might bring COVID ya kutoka kwetu. Naona hata wewe maybe. But now if we can meet outside there, then it means we have somewhere where we can meet and no one is going to judge us. Tutakutana, tuongee, tucheke. After that kila mtu anarudi kwao. Don't you think you'll have like released all those tensions that we had? It's a nice thing, so we must also appreciate. Again, the government should come up with policies, better policies zenye zinasaidia like mental health. About hapo, I think nyinyi watu wa health, you can be able to tell us best how it can be done, but me I believe it can be. Sorry?
And you are the government.
No, the government is 1, 2, 3, 4. We are the government.
The government and the health work together.
But even if they ask you to point at the government, it's not a building. The government is
the government is me, right?
George, government.
Our government. But I think probably I would possibly want to know the issues of mental health. Have they increased towards COVID when COVID started? Has there been an increase, or this issue is just constant.
Judge, what do you think?
If there is it means these things are related to our pockets. They're related to money, the majority. Yeah, there are people who possibly are having issues, some of them relationship-wise. But if for the last 1.5 years, issues of mental health have increased because of COVID, it means economics may have contributed. So personally, the first solution is to get for the young guys jobs and get them engaged. I think part of it would be greatly reduced. So you see, whether you give me a green space to rest na naenda kulala njaa.
But now, George, maybe just to ask, if before COVID, your jobs zilikuwa shida. Sasa sahi with COVID, you tell me, when is the government going to get money? Sikatai, because that maybe I'm hustling really. But I'm just trying to imagine, like, before that it was an issue. Right now, how are we supposed to be doing it? I think the best thing we could have said is, you see the way they were demolishing structures, to build something. What the government should have done as per now, need to stop. At least they used to get those places to do businesses, you know, something like that, really to jiajiri. I think that will really make sense, but create job. I don't think it's, ni ngumu, because we've really been looking for job for the past, I don't know how many years before COVID came.
But you see, the funny thing with the government officials, those who work in the government, because all of us are government, you'll get them saying the government, the government, you see. And remember right now, if you're in office of social services, there's what you're mandated or committed to as a personnel there. There's that jurisdiction that comes with you being there. You know? So the moment if each one of us can claim whatever commitment we have in our spaces, then we'll have a safer space. And another issue on the green space, we have this culture in Nairobi. What I believe in JIJENGE when the idle.
I know.
You see that stigma that comes with it. So definitely if somebody can pass me right now and pate palo ile park nimelala. No. Then hata nipige picha. Alafu yanze kutrend social media. You see that stigma that will come with it. So there's that stigma that has always become with it. Most of the time you get that mtu amepostiwa amelala hapo, jamaa amechoka, unaona? Jamaa anakula airbag. So people believe that if you go to those greener spaces to find that nature attachment, then somebody sees you, it will be more worse. So I believe as your department, I don't know if your department is also affiliated to that, the greener spaces, proper use, so that you can develop a campaign, so that people to know that being part of that spaces brings you more benefit, and seeing somebody in that spaces brings in more benefit, so that we encourage more people. So that so stigmatizing people when you're tunapata wame idle pale ama wamelala, unaona, by saying ngani kwa kijalo sorry ngani chakala ile pekacha hamo ngemota ametown. You see things for those kind.
Yeah, I get it. But even apart from like leaving it for the government to do it, don't you think if today you start by saying, by the way, we have these things, we don't know their use, this is what we're supposed to be using it for, don't you think it's going to help one or two people? Ule mwenye alikuwa amefikiria like leo ni kubaya, maybe I'm going to hang myself, I can't leave this place. Afikirie tu acha ni alafu ukienda huko by the way to pass safari unasema by the I think I'm better off, I can talk to one or two people. Ama by the time nitatembea kutoka mambo leo nifike hapo nirudi, I'll be too tired to even think of suicide maybe, you know. So I think it's just a collective responsibility. Mimi hata hapa nikiongea siongei kama gava, you know, me I'm talking like me, yeah. You know, like when COVID-19 started, by the I'm a mother, I was so stressed up, and whatever was stressing me up was like, what if I die today? What will happen to my babies? You know, hiyo ndio kitu na nilikuwa naogopa. Each and every day when I wake up I'm like, okay, so we're still alive. Like I was so stressed up. So for me, whatever worked for me was workout. Yeah, I decided like hii nyumba nikikaa ndani me I'll die, because gyms zilikuwa zimefungwa everything. So I decided every day at 5 a.m. in the morning nimeamka, I put on my shoes, natembea from where I stay up to uko Kiboswa, then I come back. Unajua by the time ninakuja that is 8 in the morning. Nimechoka, I'm so tired. So it used to help me. And then with that again I ended up losing weight, which was also one of the objective. I wanted to lose weight. Sasa unaona with time I realized it was helping. And I decided to tell some of the youths hapo, hebu simameni tuende. So we used to go as a kirende. Tunatoka asubuhi hadi pale tunauliza, what are you, mbona hao youths wamekupenda, what do you say with these youths? Nikamwambia by the way, I think me I'm just good with the youths and I think it's a better way. So unaona tukitoka tukirudi kila mtu akishaenda kwa akafanya one or two things, tena wanapata where I am wanakuja. So we start talking, and I think with that inasaidia. Maybe I didn't know whatever I was doing was helping, but unaona sasa mtu atakuja kwambia Kiema ulinisaidia, Mama Natalie I didn't know. Unaona vitu kama hizo. And then lastly, maybe just to finish, ninaongea mingi sio kwa. We need to do, the government should do inaitwa public private partnership, yeah. The government should try and reach all these partners like nyinyi watu mnafanya mental health, yeah. Ndio kila mtu akuje together so that we can help, because youths tuko wengi yenye ukianza tunataka kunini sijui tutasaidiana aje. But if we do it, if Kina Grace can do it in the organization, if Jijenge we can do it, if George utoke tu leo wewe useme me today I'm going to bring our watu, I want you to talk to youths yeah, you want to be an MC. I think that is one of the things you must do for us, so that me as Emma nione nitakupigia kura. Yes, you go and help our youth. Sema huyu George anatujali kama my youth, so why not go and talk to fellow youths wenye niko nao, ambia by the way, if you want someone wa kupigia kura, by the way nilisema hata naenda kuchange pa kupiga kura hiyo ni kupigia to do that, no, na support simply because you are a youth like me. Anyway, I think that's all the government should do, and hizo vitu gava imefanya.
Tushikane mkono, siachie gava kila kitu.
Yeah, lakini gava si mimi.
Gava ni sisi pia.
So, maybe just to add on something, yeah. So one of the things that I feel that the young people really need to understand is what mental health is, right?
Yes.
Because if someone asks you that, mental health cases imeenda sahi ama chini, stress is one of those mental health. Stress. And it is said, I know you know this, in every 4 people, there is one person having a mental illness. So when tuko hapa,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Probably before you go on, I know maybe that one. When is the boundary? Yeah, no, the thing is, when is the boundary so that I know that mine? Right? We all buried in thoughts. Thoughts about family, money, issues. So when is that sasa una clarify yangu mimi niko na mental health problem?
Exactly.
Umesema ni stress.
One of
stress.
All of us. So that is a mental.
Grace, you said something which is very clear, and I think we need to make it up. The
definition of mental health, because
so that
it's
people
a
know
whole
it.
lot of things.
Because people think that I only need to take care of myself when I'm mentally broken.
Yeah.
We don't know that
exactly.
every day what I need to do is to keep my mind, have a safe mental health. And what I can make my mind to be mental safe is this. And if I'm mentally ill, is this. There should be that clear distinction. So that you just yone, ako tu sawa mpaka siku yenye atakuwa mgonjwa ako na stress. Unaona, hivi handle.
Me then that's your definition, because since I became an adult man, I've been having stress. For the longest time, I think about issues coming out, yeah. So including people who call.
At what age? What age did you realize? 18.
Okay.
I think probably from late 20s. And now it's more because you get phone calls for people.
Exactly.
But all politicians are being
to make something clear, there are types of stress. There's Euro stress, which is a good stress, right? That is what you probably think of, because you're more energetic, you want to do more. But there is that negative stress that actually pulls you down, and that is what we're probably talking about, right? But I think in this space as young people, I think in one way or the other we've been mentally, we've been affected mentally at some point. So the issues about getting the deeper understanding of what mental health, and also speaking on behalf of the government, I know. So there's been a lot of issues in regards to funding. Of course, like Joseph said, there's been, for a very long time, there's not been that money that's been allocated to counter and prevent mental health issues. But I'm glad now that it is coming. Or if it is there, or it has been there, then it has been dealing with some other things. So again, the issues of preventive measure than curative measure is very key, so that we prevent more young people from falling, being part of the mentally ill people. And also, if you're mentally ill, doesn't mean that you're crazy or mad or unatembea uchi. You get it, yeah? So hata mimi venye niko hapa could be mentally sick, right? I could be depressed and you people do not know. See, there's just a way this thing happens. And so the bit about talking about it is just but one thing, right? But there is the other aspect of, you know, taking action about it so that you prevent going into the deeper end, which could be suicidal or something that could be, you know, immensely affect the people around you and yourself. So I think that is very key.
So maybe just to ask, when you talk about mental health, like today, say I go to work very well, I just do my own work, and then it reaches a point like I'm just too tired to even start doing that. Nitaita mental health. Because as I was talking about mental health, anasema, so long as like it's a stress in you, it reaches a point you cannot function normally. Like if there's something you used to do, sasa, like yeah, ujiski tu kufanya, you just want to like maybe sleep, just be left alone, something like that.
So the other good thing is like people have different temperamentals. Because we have those choleric, people who always just goal getter. You see, every time anataka achieve. Unaona, hata kama is worn out, hataona. Hata if somebody is trying to tell them, hataona. So the moment if we create a culture that people understand that it is my responsibility to have a safe mental health, and this is the way, and if somebody is ill, what shows you what is ill, like the stresses. You see, in those developed nations, there are activities or events that happen to you, you have to be taken for therapy. And from the therapy is what will guide now your the person, the other guardian or your employer to say that now this person is fit to work, which does not happen in developing nations. If you lose a job, if you lose your marriage, if your child died, if you are demoted, you have to go for counseling or therapy. Is when you get certified to be given another job.
Okay.
You see, but we don't do that. We always just say I will overcome. Nitakuwa sawa. Nilipoteza job, lakini Mungu ni wetu. I will overcome. Ni Mungu tu. Ni Mungu tu.
So si Mungu amefanya. Or what do you say? What do you say? Because some of us tumepitia ups and downs. Yeah, but God comes through in as much as atujendea hizo.
So if we go deep, we'll get to traumas. We have structural and development traumas that exist. You see, definitely most of Africans they have the structural developmental, because when you're growing up there was that poverty, or there was that political issues, or there was that slum issues. So we grow with them. So the problem is they build us, so that when we become mature, hii ni kidogo. Ungejua ghetto nilikuwa naishi those days. Watu walikuwa nauliwa. You see? Yeah. So I think if there's a time that we start developing, like George, thank you for being part of this panel, because government role is very key with the implementation of policies and acts.
It's true. Yeah.
So if going forward, if we can put a society where every organization or every community, there's that safe space, and it's mandatory that if you are in this job group, you have to go for this therapy.
Yeah.
You have to go for this counseling after this period of time, just to help you, to check on you. Because like even our politicians, the way you're telling me that most politicians go under a lot of stress during campaign or after campaign. But how many of them do go for professional counseling? Because here in Kenya, you get most of our leaders have a mental issue. Not that they're schizophrenic, but they cannot make right decision at any point. People make decisions which they need to make personal because they're not stable. So how do we make this thing to be better? Thank you.
Now, I think there's nothing else more to add, or anyone has something?
Probably as a solution, the way lawyers do it, government sometimes pays lawyers who provide services to criminals, alleged criminals or suspected criminals who cannot afford. Possibly one solution is that for the allocation, government can give selected mental health doctors, fund them, so that anyone or people passing through these conditions can get help with no bill charged to them. So they can identify the way lawyers, you know, if today I murder her and I cannot raise and I cannot raise cash to defend myself, government will I have a right to a lawyer. So someone in government will give a lawyer some amount of money to defend me. So I think the same thing, one of the issues, one of the places that this money can be spent is selected doctors they may not be hospital per se, because also the hospital confines scarce people. We have safe spaces that the county government did or constructed in different sub-counties. It may be a visit, and young guys come to get help and possibly get free counseling sessions.
And the youth-friendly centers.
Yes, yes. They don't go to Russia. You know, Russia is very intimidating. Or district. The moment you go there, I mean, you are suffering from mental health, but malaria catches you middle. So, yes, youth-friendly.
Yeah.
Youth-friendly, yes.
Okay, so venye tumeona, mental illness is not something that is bad. It is not witchcraft, as most of us, from the cultural belief. So it is a condition that can be diagnosed and managed well with a professional. So tusiogope. So that's all. Thank you guys for coming. I know you have busy schedules, but thank you for making it here. Asanteni.
Thank you so much.
Till next time.
I hope we'll do this and this and this more and more. Mpaka nyumbani. Not that we parade ourselves outside here and look kwa nyumba.
Yeah.
We are not doing it back home.